The future of mankind and the future prosperity of all life has never been more uncertain. With our lack of respect and lack of sensitivity to the natural world and each other, the consequences are beginning to show fast. As the population continues to spiral out of control and the further industry and society develops, the less of the natural world there will become. This is of course disastrous for us and other life, but also the less exposure we have to the natural world, the more distant our relationship is with it. If you do not have a relationship with something, you do not care about it. And if man does not have a relationship with nature, he will not care about it, and it will be at his expense. But man must be exposed to nature, not only for a break from the error and noise of society, and that his own life depends upon its well-being, but also because of the direction it gives those who live under its rule. Although it's not an easy life, it is a good influence to its children, unlike society, because nature provides the most important aspect of life to those that are obedient to it, and which is now a struggle for many to find in modern society: balance. Balance is synonymous to life. That if there is no balance, there is no life, and I will explain why. Bear with me. Life is the product of two parents. Life is the child of these two parents, whom are called opposites. It is because of these two parents that a space to have motion is possible, as motion itself is the movement between them. If life as a creation is the child of these two parents, then all life itself is made with the ingredients of both, and cannot be without the ingredients from both providing parents. Life exists because of two, and cannot be without two. In the cosmic scale, balance is represented in universal law, but in the smaller scale, in the human condition, it is in the environment in which man lives. Just as a baby consists of 50% genetics from one parent and 50% from the other, a life must also, in this case, experience an equal share from parents, which are darkness and light, positive and negative, etc. Life does not exist in extremes, just as life cannot exist with only the qualities of darkness or only the qualities of light. It exists in the right mixture or degrees. Every aspect in life falls on a spectrum between extremes. You either have too much, too little, or just the right amount. Life is only available in the correct degrees or consistent ebb and flow between them, or illness will manifest to the corresponding degree of imbalance. As an example in one aspect of life, what do you think would happen if there was only pure hot or pure cold in life? Life would not exist. But when the perfect mixture of hot and cold happen, life flourishes, just as life flourishes in balance or the right degrees. So now we can understand that life is found in having an equal share of opposites, as of being a perfect child of the two parents which made it. So it is essential that all things in life maintain balance or operate in a balanced way, or life will become forfeit. This is why leaving nature has become so detrimental to life, because nature provided the right balance and right amounts of things to its creatures that lived under its rule, and the living thing did not have to be conscious of it in order to maintain it. But now we have 1 foot in life and 1 foot out of bounds. We are playing a dangerous game. Now life has become a lesson of why we cannot do as we please. That without something keeping us in check, like nature, we have fallen into a pit of error and imbalance, all because we do not have the right degrees of things, and because society exposes people and keeps people in extremes. Extremes such as too much suffering or too little, too much stress, too little meaning, too much food available or too little, too many poor or too many rich, too much noise, too much destruction, too much pollution, too much ignorance, etc. Even further, imbalances like anxiety, stress, obesity, loneliness, boredom, lack of purpose, depression, etc., are all causes of an imbalanced environment which was created by those who thought they were more intelligent than that which was responsible for the formation, order, and eternity of nature. For society to provide balanced conditions like nature, it must be a reflection of its own parameters. It is not. This is why we have to adapt to society's imbalanced conditions in forms such as diet, counting calories, exercise, medications, therapy, etc. Society creates imbalances through its environments, but it also creates them through its perspective. What was never considered an imbalance before is now by society because the trait makes it more difficult to serve society's needs and therefore must be treated. As one example, concerning education, taking a child from its freedom and having it sit down for hours on end, being force-fed information to make it into an efficient, money-producing machine for society is not natural, and anything that resists or isn't complacent is considered a problem or a disorder that must be corrected. The problem is not the trait or personality, but the environment that the trait was put in. It's no different than taking a polar bear out of its cold world and placing it into the hot desert, and blaming the bear for overheating, not the environment that does not suit the bear. Nature was an environment that suited variety, not conformity. Nature was our parent, giving us proper direction. Think of nature and modern society as both mothers, and the bodies and minds which operate under their rule as a developing fetus. What will each produce from its environment? One that is nourished properly by its most intelligently thought out environment, and the other malnourished by imbalance and taught only how to profit. So it can be said that the perversion of man occurred when he uprooted himself from nature and its law. Nature was the perfect soil for all directions of souls, in which it provided the right nutrients for all to thrive and live a fulfilling life. Balance was never a problem for what is natural. Conflict only occurred when man uprooted himself from nature, and once he did that, imbalance began to worm its way into man, and because of his recent superiority over life, man soon infected not only himself, but the whole world with his imbalance. Man does not understand that life lives in fragile parameters, and we must stay in bounds or man will suffer the consequences. The intelligence, diligence, and vigilance that went into the creation of life and nature is far beyond man's own comprehension and current capability. Whatever was responsible for this knows better than him. Therefore, man should listen before he acts. And if man listened, he would place his roots back in nature, knowing it best for him. Therefore, man should listen before he acts. And if man listened, he would place his roots back in nature, knowing it best for himself and the rest of life. A quick glimpse of history resolves the debate. Which lasts longer, society or nature? So which environment must be more well thought out? Therefore, we, for the sake of all things, are better off being ruled by nature until the day comes when we become intelligent enough to leave it. If man is to leave nature, it would be wise for him to gather the mental materials, meaning understanding, from his old home so that he is able to construct a solid foundation for his new home called society. He simply cannot hope to survive if he did not learn from his parent. Should we expect a child to be born into the world and survive without the teachings and guidance of its parents? How will it know how to make tools or to hunt, or what plants are edible and poisonous? Who is there to teach? So why should we expect any different if man is to survive and flourish in a new environment without listening to his parent, nature? All evolution is guided by intelligence. And if man is to evolve, he must be intelligent. He must listen to his parent. He cannot blindly leave nature. Man must take inspiration from natural law to form his own law, being its child. He was not vigilant enough in his own creation. He did not consider where it could go wrong. But now that society has grown from the nurturing of its original idea, we can now see the faults of that original idea in the flesh, and man will continue to struggle and suffer in unnatural ways until he learns how to correct his imbalance or place his roots back into nature. We are in a trial and error period. It comes down to this. If man wishes to leave nature and shepherd mankind, he must be intelligent and matured enough to do so. If man is not intelligent to lead us out of nature and its balanced environment, we have no reason to be forced to follow and inherit the error that they live. It is true that struggle is ingrained in the design of life, that darkness and light will forever push against one another. But the struggle of nature versus the struggle of society produces vastly different experiences and results for the individual. Nature was a great struggle for those who lived under its rule, yet it was perfectly balanced, and therefore intelligence will agree with it over the environments of society. We may feel otherwise, that we enjoy our consistent comforts, but just because something is comfortable does not mean it's what's best for us. What is more balanced is more right in life. But society is not balanced, and so those who live in its environments will suffer its extremes, while those who live under the rule of nature will live a more vigorous and fulfilling life. Balance is remaining close to the middle in life, gently swaying between opposites, like breathing in and out. If we are to be exposed to an extreme, it must be met with its opposite in equal force to provide balance. If you have pleasure, you must have suffering. This is true in nature and true in the act of sex, if you can interpret it. In nature, as one example, you suffer having to be hungry and to chase your food, things that hurt. But then you are rewarded with pleasure after a successful hunt. Pleasure must be balanced by struggle. Every extreme must be met with its opposite. If you are too hot, you desire cold. If you are too cold, you desire heat. If you are met with heavy resistance, you desire relaxation. If you are too relaxed, you desire resistance. If you have performed a motion, you desire sleep. Once you have slept, you desire to move. If you think too much, you desire to feel. If you feel too much, you should desire thought. Every extreme desires its opposite, but it's a gentle ebb and flow in between, where the experience of life is perfected. Light is not better than dark. Knowing is not better than not knowing. They each contribute to create what we call life. Even happiness would lose its effect if not balanced by sadness. Do you want a healthy and fulfilling life? Then you must have balance in life. Do you know why the ancients were so thankful and happy towards things we consider insignificant? It's all about balance. In one example, the pleasure and happiness of something is magnified when the span of its absence is increased, meaning that when something is desired but not in possession, the happiness achieved is increased the longer it remains temporarily out of possession. If something you once had is taken away, you miss it, and then become happy at its reunion. That's what life does. It takes things away, and then gives you it back. But if you have something consistently in possession, you will never be as thankful for it. That's why the modern man is not thankful or happy for anything, because he has everything in abundance, which is not natural or intended. This is why we cannot have everything given to us in life, and we find greater happiness in the struggle to obtain it. That's what gives life meaning, and happiness itself would not be obtained if not balanced by darkness.